Hey, thought leaders. This is the personalbranding.com podcast, and I'm your host, Dillon Kivo. Join us to learn how to build a legacy, boost your reputation, and make a lasting impact. Let's dive in. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the personalbranding.com podcast. Thank you so much for being here today. Okay, so we're going to learn about the differences between influencers and experts, and what each position has to offer in the terms of building authority. So authority really boils down to two factors: influence and expertise. Experts, right? Both are very powerful even on their own, but real authority comes from combining both of them together. These two components are usually kept separate, and this is really what keeps most people from reaching their true potential as authorities in their industries. So I found that prominent people usually fall into one of the two categories. So first, they're really good at self-marketing, who have the confidence to put themselves out there, typically on social, right? That's generally where we see them. They're known as influencers. If you use TikTok, Instagram, or other social media platforms, you can probably think of a few influencers: Rogan, T Swift, or anybody that has popped up on your feed for many, many years all the time, or other people talk about them frequently, right? Then there's experts. These are the people you'd call if you need, let's say, your website redesigned, your lead generation strategy redone, or your business finances, balanced on the books, or, anything like that. So they have knowledge about a specific industry or a niche, but aren't super well known or popular, right? If you consider yourself an expert, I want to teach you how to influence and be more marketable. You'll make more money. I want you to learn how to grow your network and make the most out of your skills that you already have. And if you're more on the influencer side of the equation, you can really learn how to use your influence to boost your career in a niche and become a resident expert. Wherever you are right now, your goal should be to understand both categories and decide which one you need to work on more to get to that next level. To become more than, just an influencer or just an expert, you need to develop the skills that you're weaker in right now. So that's how you're going to achieve just ultimate authority. First, what's an influencer? They are a big deal these days. Everybody's talking about them, right? On social media platforms, especially Instagram and TikTok, YouTube, thousands of people have gone from unknown to famous by using short form content. Influencers aren't just on social media though. They're, talk show hosts, speakers, musicians, TV personalities, or even politicians can all be considered influencers. Anyone who has a large following on social is technically considered an influencer. They're known for their social proof and personal brand, right? So basically, an influencer is someone who can generate a buzz and make money from promotions, affiliate marketing, and their following, of course. The life of an influencer is all over the internet, because they have to keep up kind of a certain number of posts and views to maintain their revenue within their affiliate deals that they have. There are also ways to be an influencer that don't involve the internet. So back in the day, before social media, actors were really some of the biggest influencers. Not only were they paid to be on stage or be on the screen, but they were also making money by shooting ads and making surprise appearance commercials and stuff like that. But today, the vast majority of influencers have a large social media presence. An influencer gets paid to catch the attention of the people that are actually following their pages. So for them, attention means promotion, right? Paid collaborations with brands and companies are the daily grind for influencers. Their job is to create traffic, which ideally increases sales for the products that they're advertising. So influencers need a clear-cut plan to get attention. So we all know, like, clickbait, it's all part of it, right? That's how they're profitable. This isn't just an easy thing to do, though. It really requires keeping up with trends, buying or featuring other people's products on their pages, and promoting their personal brand. And then there's often a lack of specialty in being an influencer. You may have a niche like travel or fashion, but it's not usually a skill that you can just turn around and sell as a service. Instead, as an influencer's income, it usually comes from how many followers that they can expose to that product, right? The greater the influence they have, the higher the price for the endorsement that they get paid. Overall, the position of an influencer is pretty sought after these days. It's popular. A lot of people want to be an influencer. A life that involves travel and maybe some modeling, lots of free products, and short work hours is really what people think it is. But it's a lot of freaking work. It's not that. It's not that at all. The problem is that this just isn't the reality for most influencers. The average influencer spends more than full-time hours trying to earn an income. It's usually more than 40 hours a week. It can be really demanding. It can be a super demanding job that doesn't allow for a good work-life balance, right? And the inability to disconnect from the internet, it can be really tiring. It's really, really hard. You're typically just constantly on your phone, posting content. It's actually really tiring for most people. So now that we've covered influencers, what is an expert? An expert is someone who has mastered a certain craft or a trade. And I first think of like a professor. When I think of an expert, right? They know a lot about a specific field and they teach people for a living. So they clearly know the subject. Other kinds of experts are web developers, marketers, business developers, for example. They use the knowledge that they've gained to serve a customer and audience base that needs their skills. It's transferring information. The group of clients that experts work with is really, really narrow though. This can make the role of an expert simple and complicated all at the same time. It's simple for them to provide their goods or their services, but it isn't always easy to find a broad enough niche that can maintain a steady income. Let's say you open a handmade furniture business and you make tables and chairs for your shop. You're an expert. Furniture making is something that you can uniquely do very, very well. To succeed, you have to do that job way better than your competition. You specialize over time, you get better at making furniture, and you charge more, and you see sales go higher and higher and higher through the roof. But your ultimate goal is to corner a certain market and keep up with consistent clientele with your skill set. So here's the good news for experts. If they do a good enough job in their niche, they can bring in solid revenue, right? The problem is that the process begins and ends with themselves. So they're the ones that bring the skills to the table. This puts way more pressure on them than influencers have. If an expert fails at developing their product, they're ultimately liable, right? On the other hand, influencers, they just need to make sure they market well enough and maintain their status, right? They don't need to actually specialize like experts do, which is one of the biggest differences between the two. But after years of education and hard work in one specific niche, transition can be super difficult. An option experts have to make extra money is actually by teaching their specialty, right? This could look like a course, even one-on-one trainings, group training, or even writing a book about the process. This is a really popular option for those who have been in the industry for a very long time. For example, after an accountant, financial advisor, or a marketing manager has been in the industry for many, many years, they sometimes teach courses at universities, even on the side to make some side cash. So now that you understand what makes an expert and an influencer, which category best describes you? Even if you don't consider yourself an influencer or an expert, you most likely are leaning towards one direction, right? In the future, it'll be so important to know what parts of your skill set you need to work on. Also, knowing which role you're currently playing can really help you understand why you're struggling to actually reach your full potential. I'll leave you with a short story that is really relevant with this. So you've probably heard of Gary Vee, right? Gary Vaynerchuk. He's worth a ton of money, right? And he has definitely established himself as one of this generation's biggest voices in entrepreneurship, marketing, branding. But even though he's an authority in business and marketing, he hasn't always been in that position. His parents, who migrated from Belarus, owned a family business that sold wine. out of a brick and mortar storefront, right? And Gary Vee saw this, this whole model. It wasn't taking advantage of the growing online market. And he decided to open up an online wine store. That shift he took when he took his parents' business from offline to online was life-changing for them. At this time, almost nobody understood why selling wine online was a good idea, but he did. And he was the first to do it for the most part, right? So he launched an online channel called Wine Library TV on YouTube and entirely just rehauled the marketing capabilities of his family's company. Wine Library began selling and shipping their wine after featuring it everywhere, online, on social media, and their sales just went through the roof. Vaynerchuk knew that they were positioned well, and as a wine store, this crushed with the market, right? But it was that next step that he took to differentiate themselves from other brands that drove the company to millions more in revenue. It also propelled them into a life that has helped many, many young entrepreneurs' career learn from that option that they took. Vaynerchuk sets himself apart as an expert by sharing his wine knowledge online. And at the same time, he became an influencer by amassing a huge following online, right? He took that with him even after he left his parents' business to start his own company, right? So his entire journey started with a strong understanding of his company's position and how to use influence and expertise to drive his company and life into a position of lasting authority. Vaynerchuk's story is one of the most powerful examples of building authority. It's so important to know what your path to gaining authority should look like and to expand your skills in the area of your personal career. Knowing what category best describes you can help you make the progress you need to see and create milestones on your way to success. Here's a question to ask yourself. So, with where you are right now in life and your current following online, what are you good at? And what subjects do people in your circle go to you for when they need help or advice about that specific thing? So that's it today. In the next episode, we're going to dive deeper into the elements of influence to help you get your name out there. Stay golden. Thanks for tuning in. I'd love to hear from all of you. Follow and connect with me on all of your favorite social media platforms at Dillon Kivo, DILLONKI, V as in Victor, O. And until next time, keep building your brand and stay golden.